I'm Ashley Nicole Mosh, joined now by three-time NBA All-Star-turned-boxer Deron Williams ahead of his first major fight on Saturday night. Everyone knows you from your NBA career, and they're going to get to know you as a fighter, but basketball ended abruptly for you, and injuries were the catalyst because of that. And you mentioned that it was hard on you mentally. Has boxing filled that void? And if so, how much?
Well, I just think I'm in like my last couple years. I wasn't in a very good place mentally, and I think that kind of took its toll on me, and the injuries that I was having throughout seasons was not helping that. And so, you know, when I stepped away from the game of basketball, I didn't know if it was for good or for it was going to be a year or whatnot, and it just kind of kept on, and until I knew it was probably too late to come back. And I definitely enjoyed competing in the gym. Like I said, I have a great love for MMA. My first sport was wrestling, and so I've always been drawn to MMA, and I use that as an outlet. I wasn't training, when I started training, I wasn't training to do a fight or training to be a fighter. It was just something that I loved to do and was enjoying doing it, a way to stay in shape. And through that training, I was like, maybe I would want to do a fight, at least one fight, just to check that box.
Well, a lot of people underestimate how much injuries can play not only in dealing with the injury in the immediate time, but also the rehab process and then how that can take a toll on you
Hmm.
mentally. As you fight
Yeah.
and you go through that training, how do you refocus your brain and reprogram it rather to not get so caught up in the injuries that are potentially going to happen during that process?
I mean, it's tough. Honestly, it's tough, and I know a lot of players deal with that. They deal with multiple injuries and having to rehab, and just the feeling of not being out there with your teammates, or you're letting your team down. Or I know that's how it was for me. I felt like I was just letting my team down because I was always getting hurt, couldn't be on the floor, and so um, if you're not mentally strong or you're not mentally in a place to deal with those things, it can definitely put a lot of weight on you.
Now, moving into your upcoming fight, you and Frank Gore have spoken very highly of each other, and it's safe to say there's
Hmm.
not a lot of bad blood there like some other fights. But admiration
Yeah.
aside, come Saturday, how are you getting in that fighting mindset to just really take them out?
I mean, I'm already in that mindset. Yeah, there's no bad blood, there's no animosity. Met Frank now, and really nice guy. But it was the same thing for me in basketball. I could go to dinner with Chris Paul or Tony Parker the night before a game, and the next night they weren't my friends for that 48 minutes. And so it's the same thing. Come Saturday night, there's no more buddy buddy. There's no, he's my friend. We're opponents, and he's trying to knock me out, and I'm trying to knock him out.
You recently spoke about celebrity fighting and how the trajectory has just dramatically changed, even in just a few years. How do you feel diehard boxing fans, or how do you feel about diehard boxing fans dismissing this new era?
I mean, you're gonna get that, especially from the older generation. But I also think you know it's bringing a lot of attention to boxing that might not have been there before. I just think Jake Paul's fans alone, they're not boxing fans per se, but they're going to tune in to watch Jake Paul. I know my kids, they know who Jake Paul is very well, and they're aware of the fights now when normally they wouldn't be. And so, it's it just depends on the person, and I think it's good for the sport overall. I think the farther it goes, the longer it goes, the better the matches are going to get, and so it won't feel like, or won't be a sideshow. And I already think it's to that point.
And staying on the topic of fighting, you recently said that NBA fights are irrelevant because nobody connects because they can't fight. Now, elaborate that on that a little bit. Is it that they can't fight, or that they won't fight, or that they don't really want to fight?
I mean, I don't think anybody in the NBA wants to fight because they don't want to lose that money. They don't want to get suspended. They don't want to lose the check. So I mean, that's first and foremost. And so if they do, it's a very bad business decision. Try to meet them. I have a gym they can come to and settle their differences. They can find ways if they wanted to, but a lot of it, when it goes on during the game, it's just a smoke show.
Before I let you go, rapid fire on two teams that you know pretty well. First team, the Utah Jazz. Can they make it back to the NBA Finals this year?
I think they have a chance. I think they have as good a chance as anybody out of the West. So I definitely pulling for them, and hopefully they can get it done.
And then moving on to Brooklyn, can the Nets win without Kyrie Irving? The whole thing, of course. And does Kyrie come back?
I mean, I think they can. I still think they can without Kyrie, but definitely their chances are a lot stronger with him. And if he does come back, I feel like they're the favorite.